for our next speaker, I'm so excited because not only was it this person's birthday yesterday, so this is a really great way to celebrate her and honor her. I met Dr. Judy Wright last year in Madrid, so it's an honor to be able to call her up in a second. And Dr. Judy Wright her talk is about thriving amidst the unique stresses of entrepreneurship. So please give Dr. Judy Wright a round of applause. We'll get her started.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So I'm really glad to be here. And what I want you to do, first thing I want to know, how many entrepreneurs are in the room?
Yes.
Ooh, it is full in here. Anybody an aspiring entrepreneur on your way? Very good, very good. Welcome, welcome, okay? So I'm glad to be here with you as an entrepreneur myself. And my name is Dr. Judy Wright. I started my journey, probably 4 years ago, but in all honesty, I probably didn't really start until late 2022. And so let me tell you something. I want to tell you a little story about myself. So in 2018, as a doctor, as a mother, as a wife, a daughter, a sibling, the family doctor, not just a family physician, but the family doctor. Lots of responsibilities, and I still knew there was something else that I needed to do. The problem was that I was very stressed, had a lot of responsibilities, and didn't even have the time to figure out what that thing was until 2020, when I had to be under medical treatment because I had just been diagnosed the year before with cancer. And so I went under treatment, and let me tell you the blessing that it was, because finally I had the time to sit down. And when I sat down is when I realized how stressed I really was, that I was on the edge of burnout. So I had to ask myself, how did you get here? And in going on my journey of understanding how I got there and even my role in it, I also, guess what, had time to start to think, what is it, that thing that I was talking about 2 years ago? And even though I didn't figure that out exactly in 2020, what I did figure out is you want to start a business. That's what you wanted to do. And I did that in 2020. Not until I was more clear in 2022 that I really start to make this serious and realize that what I wanted to do was talk to other professional people, including entrepreneurs, about what it meant to experience that stress, unmanaged, being on your way to burnout, being burned out, and what you need to do to stay away from that. What I found though is, after all of that, you may say, why did you add something else like entrepreneurship to it? Because we're crazy. Entrepreneurs are great people. They're crazy, they're creative, they have passion, they have purpose, they want to share with the world, and that's what I wanted to do. In doing that, I realized that entrepreneurship had its own unique stresses. We're unique, right? And our stress, even though a lot of our stress is like others, a lot of our stress is also unique. Next one, quickly. So, Peter Drucker said, entrepreneurship is not a science nor an art. It's a practice, right? There's creativity in entrepreneurship. It's not a recipe, though. You just can't go flitting around on your creative mind solely. There are things you have to do, and there's a practice that you have to do. It's hands-on. It's about being hands-on. It's about learning. It's about growth. It's about looking failure in the face and saying, I got you. I'm going to learn from that. That's what entrepreneurship is about. And so you must practice it. You can't just sit on your laurels. You must continue to learn. You must continue to grow. If you just stay like this and you're not creating and you're not innovating, your business is going nowhere. So I told you a little bit about me, but I'll tell you a little bit more. I'm a family physician with 20 plus years experience. I'm also a life balance and wellness strategist. That is what I ultimately decided to do. I'm an international speaker. I'm an author. I am one of Success Magazine's 2023 Women of Influence awardees. And again, I'm one of you. I'm an entrepreneur. Next. So when you're walking down the street, you look like everybody else, right? Whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur or you're both. How many people here are both? Because I'm still both, right? Right? Ooh, that's its own thing, right? But you look like everybody else, right? You have your good days, your bad days. Things can be happy, things can be stressful. You look like everybody else, but there are some unique parts to the entrepreneur and the employee, namely mindset and stressors. Next. So when we talk about the entrepreneur mindset, the entrepreneur can take all of those things and come up with 30, 40, 50, 60 different uses for all those things. Some of them will be single use for each thing, some of them will be mixtures, some of them will be mixtures you've never heard of. And there'll be all these different uses, right? Whereas the employee likes structure. There's nothing wrong with that. They like someone to tell them, this is what is, this is what you have to do to get from point A to point B, and this is the outcome, and this is what you're going to get for that. There is literally nothing wrong with that. I've been an employee for 30 something, who's counting, right? But that's the difference. The entrepreneur may not know what they want to get to, but they may not know what they are going to end up with, and they find ways to be okay with that, right? That's part of their journey. Next. Okay, so the stressors are different. With that different mindset, the stressors are different. What do you realize? So, you don't really know what's going to happen. And while that can be exciting, it can also be extremely stressful. Everything as an entrepreneur weighs on you. Even if you're a solopreneur. Any solopreneurs out here? Right? Even if you're a solopreneur, every decision affects you, but it doesn't just affect you. If you have a family to take care of, it affects them too. Every financial decision, every decision for the next decision for the business. But even, how am I going to make sure that I have some balance? Because this is your project, your baby. This is your business baby, right? I mean, literally, we treat these as our children, right? And you may have children, and your children are sitting, what about me? What about me, right? So you have to really hone in on how do you find that balance. And it's not easy. It's not easy because this literally can take up everything you do, right? So there's stressors in that because you do have all of these responsibilities. Because of those stressors, and a lot of times we're not very good at managing them, because of those stresses, entrepreneurs are 2.5 times more likely to be depressed than employees.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
Now the employee has stresses too. I can talk about that all day. Okay? But it's usually due to the organization, the organization structure. How's the workplace culture? It's a little problematic. Or toxic. You know, pink slips. If anybody has been around for the cyclical pink slips, that is stressful. And the stress doesn't end with that round. You're like, whoo, I made it. But the next round might be coming in a few weeks, and I don't know if I'm going to make that. And that's even if you're the manager or the leader that let them go. You could be in the next round. That means nothing, right? So those type of things. And then there's the interpersonal relationships. I don't like office politics. I really don't, right? But when you have a lot of people, you have a lot of personalities. It can lead to conflict. And that's why people are always talking about conflict resolution. Now add on to this, let's say you're a shift worker. Now your sleep is off, you get irritable, and you also could find you don't get to spend a lot of time with people that you know and love because they may be working 9-to-5 jobs while you're asleep, and you're out there working while they're asleep or partying. You don't get to interact as much. And that in itself can be stressful. Okay, so Yale Benjamin is the founder of Startup Snapshot, and she did some research recently. And what she found about founders and their mental health was astounding, right? So she surveyed founders globally, all over the world. And this is what she found. 81% of founders hide their stress, fear, and challenges from others. Even if the other is their co-founder. They just won't say that what they're going through, right? So 77% refuse to seek qualified professional help. So now, tag on the isolation. Tag it on. You're not getting this out anyway. And a lot of it has to do with stigma. We're the strong entrepreneurs. We're the ones that people look at and say, either we're strong or we're crazy to have gone into business. Do you see the economy? Right? So 72% struggle with mental health. 54% are stressed out about the very business they started. 50% lose more sleep. I say more sleep. Since founding their companies, 47% do something counterintuitive, and they exercise less than they did before they started. When exercise is a way to get some of that energy out and give you the endorphins. And 36% experience burnout. But she found out more. Next slide. She found out more. Entrepreneurship can be very isolating. Yeah. You can feel very isolated. Some of it is because people may be jealous. Some of it is because people can't see your vision. They may bring their negativity to you and you have to push that off. But some of it is self-imposed. So these founders said that they spend 60% less time with spouses, 58% less time with their children, and 73% less time with friends and family. Right? Where's the balance of that? Where's the balance of that? Okay? Now, here's something I didn't put up there, but this was the most astounding thing to me all. But guess what? I understand it. Why? Because entrepreneurs are crazy. When asked, 91% of them would do it all over again. They would do it all over again. So if we are going to forge ahead and do it all over again, what do we need to do? We need to understand that we're going to have stress, because stress is inevitable. It's not normal, but it's inevitable. Everybody say this with me. Stress is not normal.
Stress is not normal.
Stress is inevitable.
Stress is inevitable.
Very good. I don't want anybody normalizing stress, because that's not the thing to do. When you normalize something, like you normalize brushing your teeth, you think that's just the way it is. There's nothing else to do about it. Just keep going on with it. Next slide. Unmanaged stress will lead to overwhelming burnout. World Health Organization says it. It will lead. That's what leads to burnout, when you unmanage your stress. So, what can you do to manage your stress? Here's some action steps. The first one, shift your mindset. What mindset? Your mindset on entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is great. It's about growth. It's about sharing something with the world, reshaping the world, making it better by the business, the product that you bring forward, right? But do not believe that you have to give up everything else for entrepreneurship. It's not true, okay? You're not Atlas. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, right? Shift your mindset about entrepreneurship. Understand your stress triggers. Now you may say, well, this business is what triggers my stress, right? Not necessarily so, okay? It may be the business, but you want to know, what is it about the business? Is it the finances? Is it the lives that you are affecting if you have employees? Is it the lives that you're affecting because of your family? What about this? Is it that you have no time? What about the business is triggering it? Okay, so you can do something about it. Manage stress daily. This may mean exercise, nutrition, having mindful moments, and lots of them. And I say manage it daily because just because you don't feel stressed today does not mean you should not be doing the work to manage it. You don't want to wait until you are stressed out to try to figure out what to do, okay? Work that muscle to manage your stress every day. Do little things. I have an alarm on my phone that goes off at 11:45 to remind me to stop what I'm doing and take a mindful moment, whether that's to walk outside, whether that's to just close my eyes for a bit, whatever it is, listen to some calm music, call a friend for 15 minutes. That's what I do, right? Seek support. If you don't have your own support, whether it be family, friends, your pastor, building. There's nothing wrong with professional support. That stigma is now something in your head. A lot of people talk about having a therapist, but not just a therapist. Look around the room. Look who you're with, other entrepreneurs. Groups of entrepreneurs that know what it is to be an entrepreneur and the things that you encounter. Build your support group. And finally, balance. Not only gain balance, but maintain balance. And when you think of balance, don't think of the scales. Balance, your life has many parts, okay? And your balance won't look like my balance. But you have to gain balance and maintain balance. How do you do that? With activity, with awareness, with self-care, with maintaining boundaries. And I'm going to say what I say to everybody. If you don't have any boundaries, I need you to get some right now, like today. Get some boundaries. Start off with 3, okay? But, you know, emotional resilience, building up emotional resilience as you go on. And so this is why I built the program, the Life Balance Blueprint. This is my program where I work with people to strategize for their personal life balance so that they can start to elevate their lives or continue to elevate their lives, both personally and professionally. Next slide. Balance is not something you find, it's something you create. If any of you are married in a romantic relationship, even in relationships with your family, you can't just sit there and it just does what it does. It will not flourish. You have to put in work. You also have to put in work to gain balance and maintain it. Once you get it, it's not like, woo, I got it. I don't have to do anything else. Not true. Because we get things coming on us all the time as entrepreneurs or not entrepreneurs. So you have to create the balance you want and you have to work to keep it in place. So my final thoughts are, your well-being is your greatest asset. I don't care what you're doing. It is your greatest asset. So I need you to nurture it the way you're nurturing your business baby, right? The way you may nurture your children. Nurture your well-being. If you want to continue to grow, you need to nurture it. Also, seek support, okay? I know I have it there unless you don't want it. Nah. Seek support. You need support if you want to continue to grow. You need to be with like-minded people. You need to be with people that are above where you are so that you can continue to grow. Right. And finally, I want you and I and everybody in this room to redefine what being an entrepreneur is. Right? We don't have to carry everything on our back. Work together. There's a lot of us here. I already heard Clara already, because that's who Clara is. She's already networking about, let's see what we can do together. And I've worked with Clara. So get to talking to her, okay? Get to talking to Leslie. Get to talking to each other, okay? But we get to redefine what entrepreneurship looks like and it's successful, what success looks like for us, okay? Now I know that says final thoughts, but I have one more slide. As you know, yesterday was my birthday. I turned 50 and I am extremely excited about it. I'm the youngest of 4 children. I look at my parents and said, you know, we're all too old for this now when your youngest turned 50, right? Like, you know. But one of the things that I birthed was this book. I've been writing it for almost a year now, and this book, can you, one slide, thank you. It's called Girl, Get Your Life Off the Fault Line, The Busy Professional's Guide for Mastering Balance to Shift from Overwhelmed to Empowered. This book was, even before I really had a handle on this, I started to say, I want to write to women like me that felt overwhelmed, may not have known they felt overwhelmed, and started to feel some of the stuff being taken from them, okay? And so, sisters, it's time to put yourself first, discover the strategies you need to master balance and reclaim control of your life. You can pre-order your copy as of yesterday, and I am very excited to put it out. It's my first solo book, and I'm very excited about it. And you can go to wellnesswithdrjudy.com/faultline to pre-order your copy and get a free gift. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday!